Hello, and welcome to episode 74 of Prog Review. And if you've been following what's been going on, I am working my way through the Sector 3 Rush box set. See, Sector 3, and there's your little fella there. And today, well, you already know because you can all read, can't you? You're not illiterate. You know what's going on. I'm covering Rush's Grace Under Pressure album. This one here. Better do the thumbnail. I think that's enough. So, Grace Under Pressure. It's 1984. George Orwell. 1984, Big Brother. No, it's not about Big Brother. This is their 10th studio album. And this time around, Rush have split amicably with their long-time producer and got some new blood into the group, into the setup, and it's immediate. As soon as you hear the album, the difference is startling. But before I go on, I've got to confess something. I'm actually familiar with this album. Because this is actually the very first Rush album I ever heard. I was given the cassette of this by my mum's late boyfriend. Good on you, Jim. And this was way back in 1986, and I listened to it. I didn't have many albums in those days. Well, probably 20 or so albums. So it got put on and on rotation. I listened to it, but I remember I wasn't that impressed. It was a bit too, popish, for my tastes. A bit, I was a bit of a snob about it. And so there you go. So with this review, I'm going to try and listen to it with clean ears, with some fresh ears, and put the past behind me. So, well, the album opens with Distant Early Warning, and as I've said before in my opening, the production is an immediate improvement. Everything sounds a little bit more refined. They've got a good melody going on, and it's quite a catchy little song, and it's not as cheesy as I remember it. In fact, again, I enjoyed it, and I thought the bass playing was great, and it was very hooky. And this is what I like about Rush, is when they do the hooky songs, when they are playing the pop furrow. I think it's their strength. When they go noodly, it doesn't work. I like it when they get to the point, and this album is very much to the point. This is followed by Afterimage, which is a song about loss, losing someone. And again, I'm struck by the modernity of the track. Even though it was recorded in the 80s, it sounds it still sounds quite fresh. It was quite interesting to hear. And again, this is a very big leap forward from the Signals album, the previous one. I just find everything's an improvement, and the song chugs along and it keeps up the pace, and there's a change in time signatures, so it doesn't bore you, it keeps your interest. So wasn't too bad. This is followed by Red Sector A, which again is a catchy little song. Again, a lot of the songs on this, they have hooks, they're quite catchy, memorable. And the problem I have with this is the up-tempo nature of the song kind of belies the lyrical content, because it's based on Geddy Lee's parents' escape from Nazi concentration camp. It's about survival of the human spirit, that kind of thing, continuing. And it's quite serious stuff, but the actual music itself is quite upbeat, and so needs some doom. But hey, there you go. And some of the lyrics seem to have been taken from the big book of rhyming couplets, but despite that, it does feel like it's a heartfelt song. So I didn't completely poo-poo it. Then we're back to the now legendary Fear quadrilogy. It was a trilogy, now it's a quadrilogy. I don't even like that word. Is it a real word? I don't know, but I guess it would be a quartet. Would it be a quartet? Everyone uses quadrilogy now. You see it on DVD packaging. If there's 4 films, it's a quadrilogy. Well, really, it's a trio, trilogy, trio, quartet. I'm getting off the point, aren't I? Back to review. Where was I? The Enemy Within. Again, this one romps along at a breakneck pace, holding on for dear life. And this time it deals with another aspect of fear, but it's phobias. It's better than the one that was on Signals, which I didn't have much time for, but it's still not as good as Witch Hunt. I really like Witch Hunt. It's really a standard rock fare, and but the good thing about it has these kind of short instrumental breaks, scattered throughout it, which is nice. Breaks up the song. I like it when they break up the song. It doesn't all move at one steady pace. I like it. I like it when they do that. But again, the music doesn't really convey the emotion of fear. Witch Hunt, very emotional, very atmospheric. This, not really. I don't get it. It's quite a happy, clappy song, really. So it kind of it's lost on me. Then we have some heavy drums, boom, 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 for the Body Electric. But where did they nick the title from? Was it from Walt Whitman or Ray Bradbury? Well, seeing as it's about robots and humanoids and androids and things like that, I suspect it was actually the latter. I suspect they're doffing their cap to Bradbury, and it's about a robot on the run. Okay, I must admit, I enjoyed it. It's quite poppy, upbeat, and a bit hokey in places, but it's a great piece of 80s pop rock. You can't knock it. And who doesn't love the 1001 bit? What's not to love about that, eh? We can all sing along to that. And then Kid Gloves is probably the fly in the ointment for me. It opens well with a great bit of delayed guitar riffing from Lifeson. But then, other than that, the song, failed to make an impression on me, and I felt we were heading down that old avenue of Rush by numbers, where the same old problem rears its ugly head of them doing songs that are very samey. And that's the problem with the album again. There's no up and down, there's no black and white. It's all pretty, full on stuff, and everything seems to be at the same pace, and that pace is fast. So the listener, doesn't really get a chance to recharge their batteries or, calm down a bit. Everything's it's a real adrenaline rush. But for that song, Kid Gloves, it just sounded a bit, samey. And the problem with things that sound the same, familiarity breeds contempt. Well, it does in me anyway. And then comes Red Lenses, which again runs at the same pace as the previous song, but there's some really good percussion breaks. Dig the groovy percussion, man. Boo-doo-doo. I think there's some electronic percussion in there. Boo-boo-boo. That's me doing Simmons drum pads. Boo-boo-boo. Pigeon Street, anyone? Only the Brits will get that reference. These percussion breaks, give the song character, and there's a sense of space in there too, and it's quite a playful song, and I enjoyed that. In fact, my only complaint is I think it could have been a bit longer. It could have developed a good groove with it. Normally I complain that the songs are too long. Now this one I actually wanted it to go on a bit more and the band to jam around and groove on it, but hey, you can't have everything. What am I like, eh? And the album is brought to a close by Between the Wheels, which is a song I shouldn't really like, but I found myself nodding along to it. If I'm enjoying something, because I start nodding. If it's good, I nod like this. I'm digging it, man. And the Cod Reggae shuffle, which crops up throughout the album, rears its ugly head again, but it actually adds atmosphere to the song. It actually adds some much needed tension, and a sense of dread. And it's a shame that it kind of wasn't used on The Enemy Within. It could have been used there to heighten things, but oh well. So the shame, for I must confess that I actually enjoyed listening to this album. And I think the change of producer made a real difference, and I like the sense of space, and there's a real sense of gravity to the record, which was lacking for me on their previous albums. Okay, it sounds a bit dated in places, but it is the 80s, it's a child of the 80s, and all the albums sounded like that back in the day. But I only found myself getting bored once, and that was with Kid Gloves, which is pretty impressive for a Rush album. Okay, perhaps the album was locked deep in my memory, and hearing it took me back to a much happier time, more carefree time when I was younger. But it wasn't as bad as I remembered it. Perhaps I can see why people like Rush so much. This stuff is pretty inoffensive and pretty harmless. So, when it comes to this album, I'm going to give this a startling 4 electric bodies out of 5. Yes, that's 4 electric bodies out of 5, and I'm going to actually recommend this to those of you who aren't familiar with Rush as a good, gateway album to get you into them. It serves as a pretty good introduction to the band, though, of course, my opinion might change. You want to hear the remaining albums. Now, I've only got about 50 seconds left, so I've got to round up. Up and down, tell your friends, leave a comment, subscribe, My name's been Darren Rock. I've been whittering on about Rush, Grace Under Pressure from the Sector 3 box set. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for popping by and listening to me blabber on and on and on. And we'll do it again with the next album in the series. Only one more thing to say. Prog, ye on.